This is where it was displaying. We had it minimized before, but now it's maximized at the top. Hmm. Well, boy, do we see something displaying. Yes. Man, it's like a 25-second delay. It's a 25-second delay. Yeah. Am I live on YouTube? Hi, everybody. Okay, I understand. Okay, I want to have this loaded and ready. This is Brad Herlock, the host of the Garage Grit podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be talking about money. Today we're going to be talking about increasing shop revenue, specifically with alternate streams of revenue. But we're actually going to be talking about tomorrow's podcast as opposed to talking about this topic now. Tomorrow's podcast is going to be all about alternate streams of revenue. And we're going to have three different shop owners on talking about their experiences with this and their ideas, what they've tried, what they haven't tried, what's worked, what hasn't worked. But I'd also like to hear from you in this regard. And so we're going to be digging into their experiences and find out firsthand from them. But I'm curious, have you ever thought about adding a new service to your shop just to try to add on to the revenue stream? If so, did you do it or were you stopped? And if so, what stopped you? I'd love to hear from you. Just feel free to drop a comment. The industry is constantly changing. Marginal repairs aren't what they used to be, and customers have more choices than ever before. So there are some shops that are expanding what they offer, whether it's ADAS or auto detailing, who knows. Some with great success, others with less than desirable results. Tomorrow, we're going to bring on this panel of shop owners to talk about their experiences and what's worth trying in 2025. Is it to add or maybe even charge for comfort features? Who knows? But before I tell you too many of these ideas, what's one thing that you've thought about adding to your shop but haven't actually pulled that trigger yet? So please post in the comments and we'll circle back and we'll have those comments even after this live feed. We'll talk about it, we'll chat about it, and maybe we even will be able to bring up some of those ideas during tomorrow's podcast. But let me give you a little bit of a sneak peek on some of the ideas we will likely cover. But the real answers are going to come from the shop owners themselves tomorrow. So maybe tires. Does your shop currently do alignments? Can you get an alignment rack? Do you have that extra bay? Do you have that extra space? Or are you leaving money on the table? What about fleet work? Are there opportunities to actually have a contractual relationship with a local business with handling their entire fleet? What about detailing or appearance services to try to kind of add on? I do the inspection and I get a detail. Who knows? ADAS calibrations, that's a very large topic in of itself. That's not an easy thing to add on. Is the equipment, is the setup worth it? And are you aware of what it's going to take to get into it? This is actually a topic that we've got earmarked and in greater detail over the summer. What about used car sales? Some shops are flipping the cars. Is that a headache? Is it possible? Are there bureaucratic headaches attached to that? So here are just a few different ideas, but again, I want to hear from you. What's missing from this list? What's an alternative revenue stream, an alternate revenue stream that you think more shops should consider? So one of the concerns that I would have as a shop owner is I'd be concerned about losing focus on the shop. I'd also be concerned about is it going to derail me from my core mission or my core purpose and taking care of the customers. I've come across shops whose attitude is, I'm going to sell parts and allow my customers to go and install their own parts and just buy the parts from me. But you're going to have a heck of a time competing with the part suppliers that are already out there. And so does that make good sense? What actually makes sense? What actually doesn't make sense? I mean, even in the detailing space, when you're talking about high level details, there are shops that like that is their 100% focus, right? At that and wraps. And so what's going to be a bad idea and what's going to be a bad idea for you versus someone else might be completely different. And so you definitely need to take inventory of what your assets are, what your what your assets for your shop are, and try to connect to a network and see, and maybe that network is right here on things that you've tried and didn't work. And maybe you can figure out why it failed and it's time to try it again. Who knows? But tomorrow's podcast, we're going to be live at noon Eastern Daylight Savings Time. So noon tomorrow. Check us out. Come back here. You can watch it for yourself firsthand. If you don't get the chance to do that, if it's not lining up to your lunch break or whatnot, then the following week we'll be publishing that to Spotify and Apple Podcasts and YouTube as we always do. Let's see here. What else do I want to chat with you about? So, the goal for all of these episodes and the goal for this area for the Facebook page is to have this conversation. And so after you've watched the podcast tomorrow, by all means, I want you to continue to post ideas and concepts, or you want to push back on one of the things that somebody said, have at it. Feel free to do that. It's an open space to have that conversation. And so so I'm looking forward to hearing. I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys tomorrow. I'm looking forward to having the conversation. And I guess it's a short live today. I will talk to you later.